It's Wednesday, April 17th, Thursday, April 18th. If you're on the East Coast, across the pond, or down under, and this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. Hope you had a great day and night. I am your host, Dave Scott, broadcasting to you live from the Great White North, on top of the mountains of central British Columbia, right here at SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, including Deep Talk Radio and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, do a little shopping at our Spaced Out Radio store, and read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire and so much more. Tonight's show is brought to you by the YouTube channel in Suho. Sebastian Martin brings high-quality messages to the masses. Head to our website, click on the Insuho banner, and subscribe to the channel today. The third Wednesday of every month, we head north of the border for Ghosts of the Great White North, as we are joined by Mike Morin from Haunted Crew of Canada and from Haunted Hospitals and Paranormal 911 television shows, Morgan Knudsen. Tonight, we're heading into the Canadian forests, looking for Bigfoot with Jason Jordan, who is a team member of the Haunted Crew and a member of the BFRO. We'll also get into some haunted tales with this trio as well. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the news from the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Merle, good to have you back on the show, buddy. How you doing? And we're waiting for Merle. After a great intro.
Where'd he go?
That
was a fantastic interview. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. Merle got a new microphone. Merle, we got to explain to the audience right off the bat. Merle got a new microphone, so he's learning the mute button. He's learning the mute button, so we're not going to hear this power, smack of a sledgehammer on his keyboard anymore. How you doing, Merle?
I'm doing great. I've got a new microphone. I have new headphones. Dave, what else do you want me to get?
Well, let's just start from there. We're starting fresh and anew. How you been doing? How's the ghost hunting been?
Ghost hunting's great. Jason and I are going on a trip this weekend up to Barkerville for the Thursday to Sunday. We're going to be exploring Quesnel, Barkerville, doing 3 nights up there. It's going to be fun.
Very, very nice. Looking forward to it. I wish I could meet up with you guys. Looks a little tough for me to be able to do that because this weekend I actually start the brand new season of paranormal tours at the museum locally here. So you guys are going to be up there. I'd planned on trying to get up there to join in with you guys, but I got my own tour. Can't do it. So you guys go have some fun with Ross Allison and his crew as well. You're going to have a great time, and say hi to everybody for me.
Oh, we will.
Absolutely. How you doing, Morgan? Good to have you back.
I am doing absolutely fantastic.
Excellent. How's your television shows going?
The show's been going really, really well. It's so nice to see such an amazing response, and we just got finished filming the second season of Haunted Hospitals, so that's going to be out pretty soon. And we're looking for EMTs and emergency responders to come in for Paranormal 911 as well. So it's just rocking. Like it's been so cool to see the response where people have been so supportive. I think of the show, both the shows and just the first responders that have had the courage to come forward. So it's been a blast.
I actually had one of the producers of that show call me.
Cool. Probably Tobin or somebody like that. Yeah,
it was Tobin, and he was asking. He was like, "Dude, we got tipped off that you have a lot of connections up here in Canada for people you've interviewed. Do you know of anybody?" And I actually pointed him to one of our audience members. She's on Twitter as Goddess Michelle. She actually works in, I believe, some sort of home care, hospice care. And she shared some amazing stories with us on Twitter. And I just said, dude, you got to get a hold of her. She is bloody amazing. Absolutely amazing. So I don't know if they hooked up for the show or anything, or if it worked out. I'm not too sure. I know she's on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio right now. But hopefully she could send us an update. Unless there's an NDA and she can't say anything.
Well, I so love working with these people in Toronto, because they are so supportive of all the people that come in and share their stories, and there's no heat, no judgment, and I love that about them, and they're amazing people at Bristol Global Media. I've just had it's been a joy to work with them and create this.
Well, you know what? Hopefully it'll continue as well. Jason Jordan, it's been about a year and a half since we had you on the air last. How you been doing?
Doing very well. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. How's things going on the ghost front, the Bigfoot front for you?
We're ramping up. With the Haunted crew, we are putting everything we can into it, and we're having fun. We are having fun. Excellent.
And how's the search for the big wild man of the forest?
It is. No, I will not lie. It has been slow. It's a lot of it has been time. A lot of my colleagues and stuff. We just haven't had a lot of time with the winter and spraying and everything to really get out there again. But we're hoping to get out there pretty quick. And we got a couple of some day trips planned and some new sightings to go follow up on. So we're gonna get out there, and as long as it doesn't take up any Haunted crew time, I'm trying to juggle both. So.
Well, it is tough. It is tough, and you have to be able to do that on your own and everything like that, but we're glad to have you here. Now, Mike, you wanted to bring Jason in because not only is he tied to your team, the Haunted Crew of Canada, but also is part of the BFRO, the Bigfoot Research Organization.
I'm affiliated. I'm not actually a member right now.
Well, close enough. Close enough for around these parts. We're good with that. We're very good with that. But Mike, you wanted to bring him in and kind of share some stories. You know, a guy like Jason who's so versatile in what he does. What does he bring to the team?
Jay's been ghost hunting or paranormal investigating for how long? How many years now? How long have we known each other?
6 years.
Yeah, we were both on the team together, and we've had a lot of experiences with that team. We won't name the team on here. And I want him. He needs to talk. He needs to get out there and share his stories now.
I'm so excited to talk about Bigfoot. I'm going to just say, I'm just going to throw it out there right now. That is a subject matter that has absolutely fascinated me for years. I mean, I know I'm on the more the paranormal end of things and whatever, but the cryptozoology side of things is just, it blows my mind. So I'm really stoked to get into this tonight.
It was actually, my interest started when I was a really, really young guy, and I had an encounter which I thought was actually a black bear until it got up and walked away. That was actually featured on the episode of Finding Bigfoot that we shot up here. But it was actually my wife that dragged me into the paranormal. I've been doing Sasquatch stuff for a few years prior to that, and then Blair dragged me in. Dave, you know Blair. She dragged me into the paranormal, and I have not looked back on either subject now. So I'm totally engrossed in both of them.
Now, I am gonna preface this. You and I have very differing opinions of what Bigfoot is.
Correct.
So it may get a little snarky. We may, it's NHL playoff time. We may drop the gloves right here on the radio show. It may happen. But you see, being good Canadian kids, for our American listeners, we may drop the gloves here, but afterwards we'll still go for a beer and be friends because that's what we can do.
Absolutely.
And you'll apologize profusely because that's what we do. We're Canadian.
Exactly. The all-Canadian crew. So, Jay, why did you get into let's learn from you. Why did you get into Bigfoot?
For me, it happened actually in a fishing trip along the Nooksack River. We were down there fishing, and the fish were spawning at the time. This is my first encounter that ever happened. And, I would say about 100 yards across the river. It is a meandering river, so the forest, the tree line was quite close to the river. And it looked like a black bear hunched over, sort of digging through the water like it would be, grabbing a spawning fish, until the thing got up on two legs and walked, 3 steps, and it was into the tree line and gone. Now, back then we didn't have the internet because I was only about maybe 9 years old. But so that kind of got my thing. So I went to the library and started doing as much reading as I could. Back then, there wasn't really a lot of material. And then I guess my second encounter happened. It was only an audio encounter that was along the exact same stretch of the river, 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm glad I was not alone for this. But we got woken up 1 o'clock in the morning to the. I don't know if you've ever heard the Sierra sounds with the whooping and the wood knocking. It was exactly like the Sierra sounds, and it was methodical. Like I originally had thought that it was either it is what it is, or it was somebody call blasting. But we ended up with the BFRO. Got a whole bunch of reports came in from about maybe 3 miles down the road. There's a little town down there it's all farming community. There's a whole bunch of farmers that actually reported hearing the same vocalizations at the same time. So it was that was quite interesting. I'm glad I was not alone for that one.
Mm-hmm. That's phenomenal.
Did Mike tell you about our little experience last summer?
He may have.
Well, Mike, let's you and I get into it. And Bazooka Joe, who was there as well as our bodyguard, he was there as well, and we actually had him come on and tell the story as well. So we took Mike up, Bazooka Joe and I took Mike up to Flight 21 that crashed about 25 miles, 40 kilometers, outside of 100 Mile House, British Columbia. And to this day, it is still Canada's largest unsolved murder. And 56 people died on that plane when it exploded in midair. It was a Canadian Pacific Airways DC-6. They believe the killer was on the plane with the bomb. And the crash site is still in the forest. There's a memorial there, and there's one way in and one way out. And so Bazooka Joe, myself, and Mike go into this forest. There's no cell phone service. There is nothing. It is dense, dense forest of a lot of old growth trees in that area. And there we were doing the investigation. And Mike's getting some interesting readings around there. And we're trying to keep the peace because there's still a lot of people in our community here who had relatives on that plane. And Mike and I and Bazooka Joe decide to check out and see if there's any other damaged parts of the aircraft. And we walk in behind where we were. We walk through this animal trail, and we come up to this giant rock, and Bazooka Joe leans up against the rock because, he needs a fresh breath right there. And Mike and I walk across this meadow about 30, 40 yards away. And we're standing there, kind of looking around. And that's where we hear this. And Mike, you remember this because you heard it too. Like a male's voice mumbling.
Most oddest sound I've ever heard.
Yeah. And Mike and I kind of look at each other. Did you hear that? And if I recall, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong. A couple seconds later, it happened again.
It did. It happened, I think, 4 times, actually. It happened 3 times in the meadow and once when we got back.
That's right. And so we yelled over to Mark, "Are you talking to us?" And Mark's like, "No." Mark's leaning up against the rock, enjoying himself. See, you have to go into that area armed because there's a lot of animals that could kill you. I mean, you've been up here, Jason. You've been in my house. You know where I'm in the middle of nowhere. And anyways, we decide to walk back to Mark, and we go back to the crash site. And I kind of wander off with Mark into where, at the crash site, there's like a little cul-de-sac in there, a camping cul-de-sac, where they would have parked the recovery vehicles. And Mark and I are standing there, and Mike is up a little bit above. And Mike, you heard something running through the trees, did you not?
I did. When we were standing there, you were still halfway in the meadow. I was back around the turnaround spot, and Mark was just standing by the rocks doing Mark things, guarding us. And when I heard the trotting, it was almost... I went and started to track it.
You kind of cut out there for a second.
New microphones. No, I said it sounded like a horse. So then I went to go track it in the bush, and I went probably 100 yards, maybe a little more by myself. I could hear Mark and Dave talking, but I couldn't see them anymore. But then my gut told me to stop in my tracks and kind of go back to the guys where the gun is. And I told Dave and Mark what I found. And Mark, being a seasoned hunter and guide up there, he kind of took my tracks and went around, and we couldn't find anything. But then we heard that weird sound again for the fourth time. All three of us, I believe, heard it.
Yeah,
and it was kind of in surround sound. Like there was more than one. It was like we could hear it in both ears. Yeah.
So, anyways, Mike then continues his investigation at a portion of the plane, and Mark kind of walks into this little cul-de-sac area, and I'm kind of standing in between them. And I kind of call over to Mark, and Mark all of a sudden puts his hand up, like, shut up. And the scariest part for me was watching Mark then slide his rifle off his shoulder. And in that area, there's grizzly bears, there's black bears, there's giant moose, there's wild cows, wild horses, cougars, bobcats, lynx, whatever. There's a lot of stuff in there. And Mark, to this day, swears, and he's been out in the field for 30 years, never had a Sasquatch experience, never seen anything. He's only ever seen the one track that I showed him. And he swears to this day that it was something bipedal making noise ahead of him. He's spent enough time in the forest to know what animals sound like what in the forest. And he is fully convinced that whatever it was, he's not ready to call it a Sasquatch yet, but whatever it was definitely a bipedal creature making noise in the forest.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember it was a quiet walk out of there. We were all kind of, don't want to say shook, but we were pretty unnerving. It was unnerving, especially those sounds, because I've never heard that before.
That sounds like samurai chatter, if you've ever heard. We've recorded. The closest I've come to actually experiencing that myself was actually just with an audio recorder, 3 o'clock in the morning, on an expedition in Kananaskis, Alberta. And we've got lots of rock throwing, which is really tough to try to explain. And then it was 3 o'clock in the morning, and actually we got the recording we got. It sounded like a male and a female chattering back and forth. Like it was kind of weird that it sounded like the rah, 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 like literally samurais chattering, but one was definitely male and one was for sure female. That just the pitch in their voices was really kind of crazy. It was definitely two individuals.
Do you think something like a Sasquatch, assuming, say, for example, that it's an animal, do you think that the pitch is directly related to gender?
I don't know if it's directed or as gender, or if it's more of a. I mean, I've heard a lot of stories. I haven't heard it myself of them mimicking other animals as well. So I don't know. It could be just like different pitches for warnings, or however way they communicate. I mean, I'm not sure, right? So until you get to live with them, I guess nobody else really would know how they're really truly communicating. I mean, that's how we figure. There's a lot of theories that the wood knocks is communication. There's lots of theories that wood knocks they're trying to intimidate people to just basically get out of my area type thing. And
that's why I was wondering, like, whether it be whether it's indicative of male or female, or whether it maybe be indicative of like a call or an alert or something like that, like other animals in the animal kingdom, or even if we look at other apes and things like that. It would be interesting to see if there was a pattern there.
Well, the circumstance that I was discussing, I mean, we were definitely, it was like, say, it was 3 o'clock in the morning. This was like day 3 of the expedition, and they knew we were there because we had like not big rocks thrown, but like little pebbles bouncing off the tent, things like that. So I think it was more of a curiosity thing. They're coming in, checking us out. I mean, there's people camping there all the time. It's not the first time that, we've had reports of people being watched. Rock throwing, just a lot of curiosity, trying to figure out what the heck what are these hairless apes doing,
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. My former brother-in-law used to work at a minimum security prison way up in the mountains. And for those who've been to British Columbia before, it's up Chilliwack Lake Road in the lower mainland of British Columbia. And it leads into Chilliwack Lake, which literally connects with Washington State. So literally, when you go to the end of the lake to get out of your boat, you've illegally crossed the border. I mean, that's how close it is. But nonetheless, he was working one night when all of a sudden these two people, this is going back into the late 90s, early 2000s. He was working late one night when all of a sudden these people just came pounding at the prison's doors to let them in. So the guards, obviously on guard, why are people trying to get in here? And these two people were freaked right out, he said. And when they came in, I guess they were up a logging road, and they had gone up there for a nightly picnic, and it got dark, and they were making their way back down, and a Sasquatch crossed right across the logging road from them. And then when they passed it, the Sasquatch started coming down the hill towards them in their vehicle. Well, this freaked them out enough. They rushed to the jail, and they're banging on the doors. The security guards let them in, and these people were absolutely just panicking. I do believe there is an actual written report on that online. Jason, I'm not sure if you've heard that story, as we got about a minute to go, but they were freaked right out. My brother-in-law was like, I've never seen anything like that. He goes, we didn't know if they were trying to break someone out of jail or not. Like, they were on full alert when that happened.
I haven't heard I haven't heard that particular or read that particular one, but I mean, there is reports from the area. I mean, there's even one report of a Sasquatch coming in and there was multiple witnesses and stealing fish off a stringer, at one of the campsites there, and he took off into the woods. So there is definitely action everywhere there.
Yeah, Thomas Steenberg is the one who actually followed up that story. He's a famous British Columbia Sasquatch researcher out there. He's the one who he's actually told that story up in the lines, and he actually followed the prints. There was something incredible, like a tracking of about 120 or 130 prints that he was able to track until they just disappeared. Ghost of the Great White North is on the air on Spaced Out Radio. We do this show the first, make that the third Wednesday of every month here on the mighty SOR. We're joined by Haunted Crew of Canada's Jason Jordan, Mike Morin, otherwise known as Merle, all night, and from Haunted Hospitals and Paranormal 911 television shows, Morgan Knudsen. Second half hour of the show coming up right after this. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything is an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio. Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
We passed the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Oh, man. Well, during the break, and now we got an echo happening. I don't know why. Oh, there it is, because I put my headphones on. All right. During the break, Merle Morin decided to test out his mute button, and now he can't figure out how to turn the mute button off. But that's Merle for you from Ghosts of the Great White North, and we are glad to have him and Morgan Knudsen here every third Wednesday of the month. Before we bring them back on, I do want to remind our listeners that if you are looking for archives to this show or any others, you could go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just hit that subscribe button, and a great way to support what we do on a nightly basis, go do yourself a little shopping at our Spaced Out Radio store. Actually, you can't right now. Our website is being redeveloped. So our website's actually down right now, so don't go shopping. And if you need the news, head on over to our SOR Newswire page on the Facebook. So we're in for a little bit of construction right now, but that's okay. We're going to get things going. Ghosts of the Great White North, once again, Merle Morin, Morgan Knudsen, and we are joined by special guest tonight, Jason Jordan. Everybody, welcome back.
Nice to be back again. Well, at least some of us are.
Well, we got, I don't know why this is so funny. I do not know why this is so funny, but
would you like since 1 through 10 or 10 through 1?
Well, we gotta try and figure out, why Merle is having some. I mean, you should see what he typed out on my Facebook page for this. It's absolutely awesome. Merle, we're gonna hang up on you and we're gonna call you back. Maybe that'll unstick things. But nonetheless, Jason, we were talking Bigfoot with you right before the break, and you and I have different opinions of Bigfoot. And Morgan, I'm going to let you play the ring announcer here, or ring the bell, because just in case things get going. Jason, explain what you believe Bigfoot is.
Well, my belief, honestly, is everybody has their own opinion on it based on an encounter that they've had. My encounter, I base it on the fact that I believe I was looking at a actual being, a creature, shall we say, a physical being, is what I saw. It's what it looked like to me. So my thing is, there's no way to prove, either way, honestly, that either one of us is right or wrong. It's completely based on what type of encounter people have had. That's sort of where I see, if you haven't you've told me about your experience, Dave, I can totally appreciate and understand why you feel your way. And with the experiences that I've had in my encounters, I thought it was a living, breathing creature. So there's no real way to, neither one of us is actually right. We just have to debate our side.
Well, you know what? I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot of possibilities there. Morgan, you wanted to say something?
Oh yeah, I was just going to say I'm really interested in on both ends of it, because, like, for me personally, I kind of lean towards the idea that this is some kind of animal, or undiscovered animal that has existed for a really long time. But I don't know much about the other side of it, which is the idea that this might be some sort of interdimensional thing. So I'm actually very curious to hear what both of you guys have to say about this.
Well, we're going to get into it. Merle, do you have your microphone working yet? Because we see that you're connected.
I hope I do.
You're there.
Did anybody hear Merle? Did anybody hear him?
I heard
him.
Yeah, thanks for playing along. Thanks for playing along there, guys. Appreciate that. Merle, we do have you back, so, Just be careful with your thumb there, buddy. We don't want you to strain your computer, your mute button there. Merle, you are pure entertainment. Pure entertainment. That's why we love you. But Jason, I fully understand where you're going with that, and I don't have any misconceptions about what Bigfoot is or isn't, because I've seen the physical creature, and then we've seen the pixelation that a lot of First Nations people up here in Canada believe that it is as well. The only issue that I seem to have, and you and I have had this discussion, so it's not... It's old hat for us, but we'll put it on public record. The only issue that I seem to have is there are plenty of investigators out there, without naming names, who brag about bringing in scientific investigation towards the field of Bigfoot and the research that goes along with it. But really what they are trying to accomplish is the science of opinion, because they refuse to research everything that could be detailed about this creature. That's the beef I have with it. It's not so much that I don't believe that it could be a remnant of Gigantopithecus or the North American great ape. It could very well be. I'm open-minded to that. But I don't think that we should be closing doors like so many investigators are because they don't believe in the First Nations theories, or they don't believe in experiences that I have. They think that it's so much woo times 10 that it's not even worth investigating. But that's not scientific. The scientific way is to prove or disprove theory. You can't disprove theory because you don't believe in it.
I would agree.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, just to add to that, just as we've talked about on the show before, the idea that so many of the native lore and the First Nations people, a lot of their stories and their, all of the legacies and whatnot and legends that they pass on, there's this base of truth to so many of them. And I think that's one of the things we have to pay attention to, especially in something like this, where we've turned around in the past and said, oh, no, I can't, that can't happen. And then all of a sudden you start getting these encounters, whether it be with animals or whatever it is. And I think that's something we have to pay attention to with this.
I also agree. I mean, how can you pass off what a First Nations elder is saying to you about that? Because, some of these legends have been around for so many years, and back then they didn't have newsprint. They didn't have the internet. There was no reason to be famous for, hey, guess what? I found Bigfoot, back then. And these legends have been going on for so long. And a lot of the First Nations elders that I've spoken to about encounters and about Bigfoot, I mean, even in recent times, are very, very reluctant to tell you where their encounter happened, give you their honest, true opinion. They're very, very protective of it, of the whole situation. They don't want a bunch of people coming up and chopping up their forest and trucking through there, with guns trying to take down what they think is or what that person may think is just an animal, right? So how can you discard, what the First Nations elders are actually trying to tell you? There's got to be some sort of truth to it.
Well, and that's the problem that we have in this field. You nailed it right on the head, right there, in my opinion. And I stress my opinion, because I could name 5 investigators right now on the West Coast that absolutely refuse to investigate the First Nation legend, like you are, Jason, which I think is very smart. You're very open-minded in regards to that. And when I've griped about self-titling of people in this field, whether it's calling themselves an investigative journalist, whether it's calling themselves a scientific researcher, I got a beef with that because they're not conducting science. They're not conducting any science whatsoever. It's like 99% of the paranormal investigators out there are not conducting anything scientific. And we got to get this word science out of it, because you're fooling people. Jason, what's your thoughts? Morgan, we'll get your comment right after.
I know I don't really have a good comment to it. I somewhat totally agree. I mean, you have, I guess what some of the people, their argument would be is that you do have a very, very, very few actual educated scientists that, are interested in the whole subject. Most of them for reasons they're way too scared to even touch on it. So I guess that, I don't know if that's where the whole science end of things comes into play, because there's a handful of people, and I don't know what they consider would be scientific evidence, but really at the end of the day, nothing has been black and white, written, carved in stone. There's nothing there that cannot be debated. There's nothing that can't be possibly debunked. There's nothing really at the end of the day until someone actually brings in a physical body. I really don't think that there's going to, and I'm not an advocate of killing. Get out there and kill one. That's not what I'm getting at. But until an actual physical body is found, even most scientists are not going to believe it at all.
I think they're opening up, though. They're definitely opening up now to ufology. Yeah. And this could be a big stepping stone. Morgan, you wanted to make a comment, and then we'll get to Merle.
Yeah, I think part of the problem with at least on the paranormal end of it, with the scientific community and the parapsychology community, is the fact that we've got this problem, and I can see it with Bigfoot and cryptids and stuff like that too, where you've got the scientific community that's really good at being able to do lots of studies, lots of paperwork on it, publish the studies, so on and so forth. But then the problem is that's not very digestible for the average person. So then you've got the media and the entertainment side that come in, and they're like, we're going to make this digestible for the average person, and then they go out and they make stuff up, or they stage it or whatever, and then they've got like what we're talking about, people not conducting scientific anything. And so you've got the public sort of consuming this weird, almost, junk food media version of what's going on. And then you've got, on the other hand, all of these studies that are going on that nobody wants to read because it's just not digestible for the majority of the public. So I think there's this sort of mismatch going on where nobody's really been able to blend the two together very well.
Merle, You're thinking.
I actually agree with Morgan. There is no happy medium. Media is sensationalizing what we do with the paranormal, even with Sasquatch, if you watch a lot of those B-movie Sasquatch movies. And then science is dry for the average consumer or ghost hunter. What I have noticed, like you were saying earlier with ufology, is scientists and science, they're willing now to explore the more grayer area of whereas they would need a hard fact or evidence before, as where they will hear researchers like myself, Jay, or Morgan out on our theories, what we've come up with, and our evidence to present them.
I think that's a good point. That's a good point. And for people such as the three of you who are trying to do it right, whether it's with ghosts, whether it's with Sasquatch, that gives people like you a real black eye when you have these people out there who are not doing investigations the way that they should, even though that's what they brag about. Is that what you're trying to say, Mike?
100% what I'm trying to say. Like when I go to investigations or public investigations, we're automatically getting sized up by a lot of the skeptics or quote-unquote scientists of the field. And I'll throw a wild card at them. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go get the Ouija board. And then they're going to automatically associate that to movies or sensationalized paranormal media. Whereas I'm just bringing them into what we do to then actually explain real gear, real theories, real ways on how we do things.
Morgan, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the frustrating thing for me and what I have watched over the years is whether, both in Sasquatch and in hauntings and parapsychology has been this, I guess, disregard for the scientific process, and in saying that, sort of bringing the lore and the folklore end of it in and trying to pass that off as something that is reliable science. And that gets very frustrating too. So you've got this weird combination of people coming in and, bringing in lore and old superstitions and things like that. And then that's when you lose people that, are more on the scientific side of things and could take some of this stuff seriously. With Sasquatch specifically, probably one of the studies that impressed me the most was done by Oxford professor Dr. Brian Sykes, and he was involved in the Lausanne Oxford Hominid Project, and that fascinated me because he decided he was going to take all of these samples of DNA and properly start testing them, and I thought that was really cool because he was so open-minded and he had his own experiences with Sasquatch, so that was really cool for me.
We got about 5.5 minutes here before we got to go to break here. Jason, when it comes to the scientific way of trying to find Bigfoot, what should we be doing?
With the team that I usually go out with, what we're trying to do now is we're going out of our way to come up with thinking outside of the box now, because everybody goes out there and they bang on trees and they scream at the moon and trying to elicit a response, and it's just the same. A lot of teams are doing the same thing every night after night, and a lot of those things are not working. Obviously, it's not working. We have nothing but debatable evidence to show for it. We go out there. We're my team, and this is one thing I like about the guys that I work with, particularly here in BC. Anyway, that the handful of us is every time that we do go out, we're trying to do something different. We're not trying to regurgitate the exact same investigative techniques that everybody else does. We're trying to get anything to get some sort of curiosity or a better response, or just something that throw something at the Sasquatch that they haven't seen before. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, but how active are they, though? I mean, it's not like you go into the forest every time and you're actually seeing something or having some sort of contact, whether it's verbal, whether it's rock throwing, or whether it's seeing them in plain sight.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Well, it's not like every time you go out, though, that you're having action.
No. We don't actually. It's been in my experience. We'll go out for say 4 or 5 days, and you don't get the bulk of action that you get is usually on the last 2 days. The first couple days, it's just like they're out or they're keeping quiet. But we've had the one experience that we did have, and I don't know if we just got too close to something, but we were just literally camping at one of our sites, just me and one of my colleagues doing an overnighter. And he had his dog with him, and his dog stood out there in the middle of the logging road and tail between the legs, and the poor dog pissed himself right there on the road, ran back, tried to dig a hole under the truck. He was shaking. He was so scared. There was something down the road that, scared him that bad. We couldn't see it. We couldn't hear it. And then we heard a great big wood knock, not even 2 minutes later, right across this logging road about 10 meters up the ridge, a good-sized tree snap and crack and pulled down all these rocks. We just looked at my buddy and we just said, I'm thinking we're going to get out of here tonight because whatever is here is not happy that we're here. I mean, obviously we can't say it's a Sasquatch, but whatever it was pissed off we were there, so we didn't feel safe. That was the only time, honestly, that I've been out in the bush doing that I actually felt unsettled enough that I packed up camp and left.
Really? That's when you should be staying, man. That's when you should be staying.
But keep in mind, we didn't have any guns like Bazooka Joe did.
Oh, heck. Where were you?
We were up on the west side of Harrison.
Okay. So you're in... So you got Sasquatch, you got black bears, and you got cougars. There's no moose there. There's no grizzlies there. No. You're safe. You're completely safe.
There you go. I didn't feel safe at the time, nor did that poor dog.
I mean, it's not like Sasquatch is going to go all Iron Sheik on you, suplex you and then put you in a camel clutch until he breaks your back and makes you humble.
But he could. Didn't say he would.
Very well. Yeah, very well. But I'm just amazed by the fact that it startled you that much that you felt that you needed to leave.
Well, it was literally we did feel very threatened. I mean, we've been in the bush and we've heard the howls backs, we've heard the wood knocks, we've even had rocks thrown at our tents before, but it was something, I don't know if it was because of the way the dog was reacting. That's, you know, that kind of unsettled, but whatever it was, did not want us there. And, you know, we were, I mean, and the friend I was with, the colleague I was with, was a very seasoned bushman as well. And we both were just, it was very unsettling enough. And we were like, no, we need to book.
That brings up a really good question, though, is, you know, and I don't know how you feel about this, Jason, but, you know, you hear about these different stories and whatnot of, you know, people going missing and whatnot in the woods and things like that. Do you think that it's possible that there might be some sort of relationship between the two? Because obviously the people that, you know, don't come back, we don't know, you know, and then you get these people that just kind of disappear and go missing. I don't know what your take is on that, but it's always something that's kind of crossed my mind.
We've got about 1 minute, Jay.
Oh, I don't really know. I honestly have not looked that much into that, the missing person aspect, to be honest with you, to really comment on that.
Yeah.
But I'm just not educated enough on that subject to make a proper comment, I would say.
Well, we had Amber Beckrud on the show last night, and she is an investigator of missing people up north in Alaska and the Yukon. And there's a lot of First Nations tribes who actually believe that is happening, that a lot of these sightings that are happening, or a lot of these disappearances that are happening up north, First Nations people are convinced that it is Sasquatch. Absolutely convinced. It's absolutely amazing. I'm going to get you guys to hold on. You guys go Merle on us, and we are all going to get ready for the end of hour number 1 and the introduction of hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Ghosts of the Great White North happens the third Wednesday of every month on this show. And we love having this show on. Mike Morin from Haunted Crew of Canada, his teammate, Jason Jordan, who's also a Sasquatch researcher. Morgan Knudsen from Haunted Hospitals, Paranormal 911. If you want to catch her on television, Ghosts of the Great White North. Hour 2 coming up right after this.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest...
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR, where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com, where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com, and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot THAL, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today. Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for being with us. Tomorrow night on the show, we take a look at the ladies' side of paranormal investigation. Girls versus Ghosts. Charla Hardin joins us. We get going at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates, UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans, WQEE 99.1 FM in Newnan, Georgia, in Ridgecrest, California, KZFX 93.7 FM, and in Reedsport, Oregon, AM 1030 KDUN. On the digital side, hi to everyone listening in on Revolution Radio and Deep Talk Radio. Good to have you with us. Don't forget, all of our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Yalem is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, which is now under construction as we are planning a big expansion due to the popularity of it. So that'll be down for a couple of weeks, but don't worry, you can still get the show right there. Tonight, it's Ghosts of the Great White North. Mike Morin from Haunted Crew of Canada is here, along with his teammate, Jason Jordan. We're talking cryptids, Bigfoot, and ghosts. Morgan Knudsen is also with us from Paranormal 911 and Haunted Hospitals television shows. And we do this show the third Wednesday of every month. Everybody, welcome back to the show.
Hooray!
Yay.
I can't wait to get into this. So good.
All right. Go ahead, Morgan. You had a question for Jason right off the bat.
Yeah, well, I'm interested in the evolution of where this is all going, because we've talked about the fact that there's, science and things like that seem to be stagnant in some areas around this. And I'm curious, in terms of how Jason investigates and whatnot, how he wants to move things forward or how he sees the field moving forward, going on in the next number of years.
Well, we still do use a lot of the old, shall we say, timed traveled techniques. Some of the old school stuff, we do use that a lot. I want to see us move forward. We're trying some new ideas with a lot of radio receivers. We're thinking about maybe just going out there, and we got a bunch of little FM radio receivers and literally bugging the forest, where we are, see what we can capture. Trail cams aren't working very well. So we're thinking, I don't know, maybe we'll set up a bunch of audio. It still seems to be one of the, much like paranormal research, seems to be one of the prime ways to get any kind of evidence, but everybody wants the pictures and the video. I don't know sure exactly how we're going to move forward, but I do think we do need to move forward with our investigative techniques. I don't know if it's a change in gear. I don't know if it's just a change in the way we look at things.
I think it's a change in attitude.
Yeah, I agree 100%. We need to look at this from completely different aspects that, why not go in open-minded and think, why not? It's not going to hurt anything at this point to maybe look at it as an interdimensional being. Maybe we listen to the First Nations elders and approach it from that way. Now, how it would be kind of cool to be the pioneer in that type of research, but I don't know how do you go move forward in that? Maybe that's something we need to look at.
All right, let's get to some audience questions here, because they are piling up. We're going to start with Jade, who is asking in the SOR Space Travelers Club, is Bigfoot seen year-round? If so, are they white in the winter like the Yeti of the Himalayas? What do you think, Jason?
No. most of the reports that we get, they're looking at a reddish brown creature, and they seem to be that color all year round. Although I have heard and read a couple of reports of a gray Sasquatch. And now there's no way to tell if that's just because you're getting older. Maybe it's an elderly Sasquatch, or maybe it's a genetic thing. Who knows? But I've heard reports of a gray Sasquatch.
I've heard that too. I've heard of that too. But the one that I saw very clearly, the other one was behind a shadow of trees. But the one that I saw, where I got the full right and back profile of it, it was that reddish gray or reddish brown. That was beautiful. Yeah. Massive. And my encounter absolutely massive.
And my encounter, I mean, I would have told you it was a black bear all day long. It was that dark in color, until it got up and walked away. But it looked very, other than the hair was longer, same color as a black bear.
All right, let's move on here. Joey is asking, would you consider the hypothesis, Jason, that Bigfoot is a vibrational entity whose frequency is outside the limits of our perception? Not only are we unable to hear vibrations above certain frequencies, we cannot see them either. If you use a strobe light flashing at twice the frequency of the target sound, the vibrational cycle can be visually manifested. What's your thoughts?
Never thought of it. To be honest with you, we have a lot of. I mean, anything is definitely possible. We have a lot of theories of, that Sasquatches, their senses are just so much more heightened than, say, a human being would be. I've even heard, because I know there are certain animals that can actually see infrared light, so that could be one of the reasons why you're not getting them on any kind of a trail cam, is they can actually see the infrared, from the trail cam, so they can avoid them. I mean, anything and everything is possible at this point, really, at the end of the day.
Jason, what's your thoughts in regards to a lot of these people who are using trail cams, and they will pick up absolutely everything: deer, raccoons, cougars, bears, you name it. But when something like Sasquatch comes around, we end up seeing these orbs, or the camera seems to go off and then restarts itself.
Well, I don't know what my theory on these things would be. And this is, again, where we have to bring in the possibility of maybe it is interdimensional, because at the end of the day, all the camera footage, a lot of the things appear to be a blob squatch. Is the term that's used. You don't get a lot of clear footage, even trail cam footage that most of that I've seen is literally a blob, where you get a piece of what, it would be a black bear, and people are going to debate it till the end of the whole night that no, it's definitely a Sasquatch. But, one of our theories is that maybe they can see the infrared light. Maybe they can sense the batteries. I mean, I know one of the trail cameras that we used gave off a very, very faint hum. Maybe they can hear that we can't. Yeah, they just avoid it. Who knows?
I know, too, from the paranormal side of it. Oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's interesting from the paranormal side of it, because we think of people that are pulling out their cameras and trying to take footage and whatnot. It's funny how the brain reacts when it sees something, because half the time, at least I know in my field, people, they're trying to process what they're looking at. And so by the time they clue in, and the brain clues in and rules out all these different things that, it's a bear, or it's this, or it's that, or, whatever, and they actually pick their cameras up, the object is way to hell and gone. And I feel like that's probably what's going on with Sasquatch to a point as well, because I know in my field, it's, by the time you clue in, and even as an investigator now, like I've had it happen to me where I'm just going, it's such and such. And then all of a sudden I realize, oh my God, no, that's something I need a camera for. And that's why my team now always goes with GoPros strapped to them, because it just, your brain just doesn't go there.
Yeah, majority of the pictures that I have seen in my experience that I would actually deem definitely. I mean, the problem is there's so many hoaxers out there that have just ruined it for legitimate, people doing research. So this is why everything to this day is going to be debated, no matter what. I mean, a Sasquatch could sit on your lap, you get a clear picture of it, and they're still going to debate that no, it's not a Sasquatch. But yeah, when you get out there on the fields with the GoPros are awesome. I've never seen a picture yet, or anything I would deem that isn't a hoax. Is the animal's been caught by surprise. So much like a bear, if a bear can hear and see you coming, he's gone. Like you're very rarely going to see that bear. I feel the same way that with the Sasquatch. If a Sasquatch can hear and see you coming, and you're not going to see him. I mean, the encounter that I had when I had my visual when I was a kid, I mean, when we had come down, there was nobody else around, period, and the river was raging, so it was making a ton of noise. So there's no way, and we were downwind. So, my theory on it would be just like a bear. We caught this thing off guard, and then, even when it got up and walked into the tree line, it didn't pay us any attention at all. I don't think it even knew I was there. So I think the majority of the they get taken or you've caught it off guard.
I got a question from Mike here, and he is asking, any of you, have you ever heard the theory that Bigfoot around the world actually have different dialects based on their locations in the world? Jason, do you want to start off with that?
I've heard that, yeah. I guess it's so. I've heard more of different colorings. I've seen reports, shall we say, the reports you get from Russian Sasquatch very much are the same as what we get here in BC and through Washington State and Oregon and stuff. Like the descriptions are very much the same, but then you get down, shall we say, down Florida, and all of a sudden you get the skunk ape. There's different. I've reports that I've heard and read that they're quite a bit smaller. Down in there. So, I mean, you hear these things, they're all over the world. Almost every country has got a story of something that would be related to a Sasquatch, but all the reports come in, they're all different sizes. There's different names for them. There's different everything. So I think there's some truth to that.
Have you ever investigated in the Mission, British Columbia area by Davis Lake?
No.
You should go there.
I should, though, right?
I'll tell you why. In 2006, 2 fishermen were chased out of there at dusk by a Sasquatch. There's a report online that you could read that. And in 2012, yes, before we found out we were pregnant with little SOR, Mrs. SOR was riding her ATV. I was about 150 feet ahead of her. And she looked into the bushes, and she was actually being followed through the trees by a Sasquatch.
Oh, he was paralleling her then.
Yes.
I've heard. Yes.
Yes. Good place for you to go. Stay out of my area, damn it. But that okay. You can go there now because I'm not there. No, but seriously, that Davis Lake area, there is creatures there. You should take a look there. Yeah,
I think the language thing, though, is really interesting because, speaking of the whole interdimensional theory, Igor Burtsev in Russia, like he's talked about the idea that they have a dialect as well. He's really pushed on that. The fact that, they've heard and recorded what sound is like chattering, but at high speeds, like almost vocalizations, but very human vocalizations. And he's, of course, a big perpetuator of the idea that they're interdimensional. So that's kind of interesting that those two things seem to be tied together on some level.
Merle, do you want to jump in, Merle?
Absolutely. I'm wondering if that's what we heard, just what Morgan was talking about, like that chattering, the high-pitched, fast, human-sounding chattering. Because listening to you guys talk about the dialect and that, and then I'm thinking about when we were at the crash site, that's kind of what it sounded like, was human tone, but really high-pitched, fast chattering, almost like a whisper. I think they do have dialect, but I don't know if it's different in Peru than it is here. And I think I don't know about that one with the dialect.
Jason, have you ever heard the speaking?
Yes, in Kananaskis, I was sleeping but I did get it on my recorder. Two members of the team did hear it because they were sitting around the fire when we were getting the stones tossed, and I don't have the recording with me, but we do have the recording of. Remember, it was the male and the female, and it sounded like a couple of samurai warriors chatting to each other. That's why I said the samurai chatter. There's been quite a few people have recorded that sound. It sounds like they're just back and forth.
Yeah, that's interesting because Igor Berta, he's been just a very big supporter of that end of the theory. I mean, unfortunately, he's come under a lot of criticism because he tends to be a little bit eccentric in terms of his theories about it. But it's not to say that he's right, wrong, or indifferent. But it's interesting that that chatter noise seems to be something that's pervasive even outside of Russia, but into of course into Canada and things like that. So that's kind of interesting.
Well, I think we're all open to that kind of, people going to disagree with everything. Everything's open to interpretation. But I mean, that's one of the things that I like about the Sasquatch and even in the paranormal research is there's always going to be the naysayers.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter what the subject is.
We're going to be talking.
I think especially
Go ahead, Morgan. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just going to agree with him. I think he's right. There's you're always going to hit a wall at some point in this field.
100%.
We're going to be talking with British Columbia Bigfoot researcher Robert Kennedy next Tuesday. And one of the things that I'm going to ask him, and I'm going to ask you this as well, Jason, there seems to be a real difference between the British Columbia Sasquatch all the way down to Northern California, say into Mount Shasta area and around there, comparatively to other Sasquatch that we hear around the bayous and the swamps of Florida, right through to Louisiana. And I'm curious, those creatures down south seem a lot more aggressive. They seem a lot smaller than the creatures up here. And they seem a lot more intimidating than the ones up here that have the size. And the ones up here seem to be a lot more docile. And I don't want to say friendly because I don't think that's the word for it. But they don't seem as fearful up here as they do down south. Why do you notice that? Or do you notice that?
I've never had the chance to do any research or an expedition or anything down south, but from what we get up here, most of the interactions that we seem to think, or when the Sasquatch here will let you know, you don't go out there looking for Sasquatch. Sasquatch will find you. Has been our. I mean, I've never gone out there in my day and met anybody that went out to take a picture of a Sasquatch and actually come back with one. The photographs that I've seen have been, majority of them have been literally taken by accident. And same with all the encounters that I've heard and read. They're all the same sort of thing.
That's intriguing. That's very intriguing regarding that. Very intriguing regarding that. Do you think that the Sasquatch up here do present a hidden danger? There's a lot of First Nations who believe along the Highway of Tears with all the women that have gone missing that they've actually been taken as Sasquatch wives. There are a lot of people up here who believe that Sasquatch is killed. And yet the majority of people who are non-First Nations who have seen this creature really haven't had a negative experience that we know of with it, Jay.
I haven't had a negative experience except for that one where I was actually scared enough to leave. Majority of the experiences that I've had have been more of them being curious of us, and that's and to the extent it's not being threatening. The only time was that big wood crack, and we went back the next weekend and found this tree. Probably it was snapped off about 9 feet in the air and it was twisted right around. So it wasn't the black bear, I don't think, that would have twisted it. But again, we didn't get it on camera, nor did I have a visual sighting of it. Just heard a lot of threatening sounds. But that
That brings up another point, though, Jay, in regards to the fact that we only got about 3 minutes here before we got to go to break at the bottom of the hour. But that brings up a big point in regards to what you said a little bit earlier, combined with what you said now about, the blurry Sasquatch photos, that anything that seems to be out of the ordinary, it's always blurry. Now, there are people out there who surmise that maybe it has some sort of defense mechanism that can turn itself blurry, or maybe it's quick. I don't know. What's your thoughts on the reason why there are so many blurry photos or videos of this creature?
That I am not sure. I mean, really, at the end of the day, there could be 1,000 theories on that, and I really don't know why everything is super blurry. Just that nobody ever gets any really good trail cam footage. I mean, we try, but I mean, the only decent footage, like I say, that I've seen has been, footage where, you captured this thing by accident. It didn't see you stumble upon it and he didn't see you. I did see some really compelling thermal footage once of this thing up in behind a tree line, and it came up behind this rock, and this thing took off like an Olympic sprinter. I didn't record it myself. I mean, it was one of my colleagues that did, but that and he's not going to make it public, the footage, unfortunately, but it was very, it was pretty awesome to watch, because I don't know how it's pretty tough to fake thermal footage like that.
Very intriguing. Very intriguing. How far away were you from that creature?
I wasn't there for it. We just investigated it the next weekend. I mean, we came back literally. It was the very next weekend when we investigated the area. But there was 4 or 5 of them that were actually recording it at the time, and they were up there looking for, Sasquatch evidence. It was back in February, so there was quite a bit of snow up through there, and they couldn't get all the way into, into the area where they were, because you can only go so far with your trucks. And then it was one of the ladies on the team that actually spotted this thing up behind this rock, and that's when the other guy. It was an American team, and the guy brought out his thermal camera, and you can quite clearly see the rock, and then this, from about waist up, this thing kind of looks up around the rock, and it sort of rocks back and forth, and then it just took off up the hill. And I don't know many humans that could have ran like that the way it did, but nor would you be naked out there in -5 weather.
You were underestimating the power of Merle.
Yeah, fair.
We're not going to bring that story up, Dave. I told you already. We're not going to bring that one up. Snow and naked.
Sorry, Merle. Sorry, Merle.
I got a light question, though, Jay, before we go on to break. So it was either you or Dave said that Bigfoot could possibly see infrared light. Have you guys, Jay specifically, has your team ever thought about changing the spectrum and trying full spectrum night vision to see if his or her eyes won't register that?
Well, we currently use Generation 3 night vision. It is one of the tools that we use. Unfortunately, the one that we do have doesn't have recording capabilities. But yeah, I would love to do that. Change the spectrum of light and see what happens. And they got to think out of the box, man.
Thinking out of the box is what we're doing tonight on Spaced Out Radio, looking into Bigfoot, ghosts, and so much more on the Ghosts of the Great White North with Morgan Knudsen, Mike Morin from Haunted Group Canada, and Jason Jordan, who looks like a Sasquatch without his shirt on. We'll be back with more Spaced Out Radio right after this.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch. Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot THAL, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology: Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com. Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit's story box. The iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thanks for coming along for the ride. Remember, if you've missed part of this show, or you want to hear any of our others, go to our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. And, of course, our website is spacedoutradio.com. It's going to have a brand new look very, very soon. Tonight we are talking Ghosts of the Great White North. This show happens the third Wednesday of every month, where we are joined by Mike Morin from Haunted Crew of Canada and from paranormal television shows Haunted Hospitals and Paranormal 911, Morgan Knudsen, and our special guest tonight, Jason Jordan. We've been talking Bigfoot the last hour and a half. We're going to shift gears here, get more into the ghostly stories now. Crew, welcome back.
Thank you.
Oh, finally, my arena. Okay.
All right, Merle, you wanted to get into some paranormal stories with Jason because he has a few. Why don't you set us up for one of them?
Merle?
This is where Merle is supposed to talk.
This is where Merle's Skype went quiet, but Merle will talk now. Jay, you have a very interesting story on how you got into the paranormal, how your wife Blair got you into it. Tell Dave about it, why you got into the paranormal.
Actually, I got into the paranormal because things on the Sasquatch front got really quiet. So it wasn't doing a lot of investigating on that end, and I was still getting the bug. Well, Blair got involved in that other team that shouldn't be named, and she's like, "Why don't you come on out? Come try it out." I'm like, "Okay, great, I'll go." And I got hooked. But you got to keep in mind, I had never had a paranormal experience in my life until Blair moved in with me. Then I was like,
pretty paranormal right there.
It was, and then we had some things go crazy, and I couldn't ignore them anymore. Then finally, her and I had a bit of a chat, and I realized what she is like, and so then she got me into the paranormal research, and I quite enjoyed it. A lot of the techniques and things that we do for investigating are very similar, so it was a nice, easy transition, and now I'm finding it a lot of fun to do both.
Did you have a personal experience, though, that really set you off and said, holy cow, this is real?
It all started when Blair moved in the first time into my apartment, and we were just sitting there watching TV, and the thermostat flew off the wall for no apparent reason. So I put a screw in it when I put it back on the wall. The second thing that happened, and sleeping in the middle of the night, and at the time I was a Freemason, and my Masonic bag with my Bible came flying off the dresser, landed in the middle of the floor, woke me up. That was a little bit awakening. And I guess the final one that made me finally question what the hell's going on to Blair was, I have to describe, we had a sunken living room in our apartment, and we had these big wall units along the wall that had, the old 80s style with the glass doors on them. And I was sleeping on the couch, and Blair used to regularly just reach over the railing and scare the crap out of me. And I'm watching in the glass, and I can see this black thing coming over the railing like it's going to scare the crap out of me. I thought I'm going to get the upper hand on her, and I turned to scare the crap out of her, and I was completely paralyzed and frozen with this black thing over top of me. And all I remember feeling was not scared at the time. I mean, it felt like it lasted for a minute and a half. It was probably maybe 5 seconds, but it just released me, whatever it was. And I woke up and I was like, what the hell is going on? And I ran into the bedroom. I said, we need to talk. And that's when Blair kind of came clean with her abilities and some of the things she can do and some of her experiences. And, these experiences continued on. Nothing frightening, continued on into the next house that we lived in, and over the years have sort of trailed off to the point where, she gets visited regularly, obviously, but for me, now I don't really notice anything. Even when we go out on investigations half the time now, I kind of rely on her and Derek and and Mike, because I'm very much the guy that can go into a room and not sense and feel much anything at all. So
we're blaming Blair, your wife, for this. That's what you're saying.
She dragged me into the paranormal. Well, I guess Sasquatch is paranormal, but she was well aware of my paranormal or of my Sasquatch research before getting me into the paranormal.
Merle, you got a follow up.
Yeah, no, Jade, I want to go into, you say, how when we investigate, you don't feel things. You rely on Blair, Derek, and the members of our team to feel things. However, the last investigation we did was at the metaphysical store in Langley. Yep. You said that was the first time you had ever felt something, and you felt kind of uneasy and not okay in that store. Explain that investigation versus all the other ones where you're kind of just like a bull in a china shop with gear.
A lot of the time I'm like a bull in a china shop without gear. There's very few times where, there has been the odd time where I feel being watched. The hair will stand up on my arm, but that could, sometimes I just, shrug it off as possibly me being paranoid. But at that night at the metaphysical store, I'm not sure what it was that was happening, but I was in the back corner. And I was doing a lot of the camera work on that particular investigation, so I was just keeping my mouth shut and standing behind the lens. And it just became the best way to describe it would be, it was tough to breathe, but not like I was being choked. It was more of like there was not enough oxygen in the room. Like I was up at a high altitude. Like I was just finding it hard to I was laboring a little bit to breathe, but it wasn't, maybe, like a little, like a light pressure on my chest, but nothing alarming to make me, gasp for air or anything. But it didn't feel normal. That's for sure.
So I got a question for you, because I think this is so. I think that we're hitting on a topic here that's really important, and I think you hear oftentimes of some of these investigators and whatnot relying on. Specifically about feeling things and so on and so forth, where you seem to be a little bit more leaning towards the intellectual side of things. What made the difference for you in that situation? Did you what made you rely on your gut and your intuition then compared to other times?
I'm not sure what it was, but all I remember doing is while it was happening, I didn't feel like I was being threatened, nor did I feel like I was being attacked. I moved myself to a different place, to a camera angle to shoot from, so I just walked a little bit further down the hallway and it went away. That's just, like done enough paranormal investigations over the time to just know in certain situations that don't panic, don't freak out, kind of thing. And I just moved myself to a different spot. It went away, but I've still, seen and heard enough things that I cannot explain. I mean, I've seen Blair's hair get pulled. I've seen, I've got lots of audio, recordings. But I've seen and heard, I had a piece of Lego thrown at me at an investigation. That was, I wouldn't say unnerving, but I thought it was kind of cool, and I chuckled about that afterwards. I guess I've got a bit of a thick skin about it now.
I'd throw Lego at you. Just.
I know you would.
Yeah, I would.
He loves you that much.
Yeah.
Morgan, go ahead.
Oh no, I just think we're hitting on a really important thing, because I think, when we go into these places, there seems to be just this dividing line between people that say, it's about, intuition. And then you've got, of course, the other side of the table that says, no, if you can't measure it on a meter, then, it doesn't happen. And I think there's such a great balance between the two. And I think sometimes both, either one side or the other, kind of gets ignored. At least that's been my experience with a lot of people. So I think it's an interesting thing to examine as to, at what point do we rely on our intuition, and then at what point do we, rely on the meters, and where do the two come together?
I think it helps with our team dynamic that I don't sense and feel things like the rest of the team members do. That's one of the things I love about, I think we have a very diverse team in that sense. We do have the two mediums, and I am the one person on the team that it isn't really sensitive at all. So but I think that I can help add a little bit of healthy skepticism to everything as well. So I think I love that we have a diverse team that way. If we were all a bunch of mediums and running into a room, who knows what's going to happen. But I kind of like that we all have different opinions, and we all have different abilities.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
In my case, not abilities.
Yeah, but I think that's important, though. I think you're hitting on a really, really important thing, and I agree. I think if you don't have that diversity, then immediately you've got a problem, because like I was saying, everybody's either leaning to one side or the other, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah, and that's one that we very rarely run into that. Into that situation where everybody is on the same page, or we're all on the same page, but we're not, where, the mediums can go in and they can be feeling different things, whereas I'm standing there going, I don't even know what you guys are talking about, so it's, but I like, maybe it's, although I do know, I think maybe Blair's rubbing off on me a little bit, or maybe it's Derek, but I do kind of, I'm not going to say I'm a sensitive or a medium, but I do seem to be getting a lot more. Maybe I'm more open to it. I don't know, but I do seem to be picking up energies a little bit better. Not anything to their degree, of course, but I can walk into a room and get a certain creep factor and just be like, and it's not just a visual thing.
Yeah, I totally get where you're going with it. Where I think the more we open up to this stuff, and the more we go into a space with that state of just non-resistance, and just be open to whatever's going on without sort of the preconceived shutdown of the intellect entirely, we do start to experience bits and pieces that we normally wouldn't. So it's fascinating.
Mm-hmm. Jason, have you had an opportunity to investigate everything that you have wanted so far, or are there situations or scenarios that you would love to take place in, just to maybe end that skepticism and give yourself the ability to finally believe that there is something 100% out there?
I have tried to do that. I have put myself in some I guess in our mediums' minds, are very precarious positions where, I'm being told I wouldn't go down that hallway. Don't go down that hallway. And I'm going to go down that hallway. And, my theory behind it is, what my thinking is that if I can't sense and feel these things the way that they can, that, keep the cameras rolling. Because if, whatever is down that hallway wants to get my attention, it's going to have to bring up a lot of energy, and there's a good chance maybe we can get that on camera.
I love that approach, because I think not only that, but I think so many of these people that you see, especially on some of these TV shows, and it gets so ridiculous, because as soon as there's a bump or a scream or something happens, the person just takes off and goes running, and then they run from that activity, and that doesn't help anything. Have you found that approach has been effective in the past, where you've been able to go and go down that hallway, or go towards the thing that might frighten the average Joe, and have had results?
I don't know if we've had great results with it yet, but I haven't had a lot of opportunities to really hit that approach. Hit it with that approach yet. It all sort of depends on where we are, how we are, if we have a chance to sort of to break off. I know I have, in some of our investigations, like literally locked myself into a room by myself, with the same theory of, okay, I've got camera on me, I've got audio growing, and I'm just there, and I'm making it very clear to anything that's in that room that you're going to need to be strong to get my attention, in the same hopes that this will do it. So I'm not afraid to put myself in these positions, and I'm hopefully one day the same thing doesn't happen to me that happened to you, Dave. But I guess if I keep putting myself in that position, something probably will.
What would stop you from investigating something, whether it's ghosts, Bigfoot, UFOs, aliens, because eventually you're going to end up there as well? But what would stop you from investigating? What has to happen?
Well, if I actually found a Bigfoot, I would probably no need to continue researching it, I guess. As for ghost hunting and stuff like that, I don't know if anything would stop me. I guess one thing that would make me uneasy is we're very careful with what we do. Is bringing something home to my family. I don't want that to happen. That would really bother me if that happened. But if I didn't, to bring something home, that kind of frightens me, especially with me and possibly not knowing that I brought something home.
Have you ever had a situation like that where you felt that maybe you were either followed, or you were kind of existing in that same sort of vibrational realm, I guess, of something that you've investigated?
Me, no. Blair, yes. We've had the discussion a few times where she thought that something is attached to her, and she's brought it home, but not to me personally. Not that I know. There's no real way for me to tell, I guess, but not to my knowledge, I haven't yet. No.
When you go out on an investigation, are you preparing yourself for the worst? Are you preparing yourself for anything to happen? How do you get yourself ready?
I get myself ready just by keeping an open mind and just being prepared for who knows what's going to happen, because any paranormal researcher will tell you there's a lot of hours put in where nothing happens, and then you get those few moments of, holy crap, did that just actually happen? So just being open and honestly being prepared sometimes for disappointment. I don't like to say it like that, but there's times where you go into a location that is just like totally jacked up for you, and you get there and nothing happens. It's a bit of a letdown, but an open mind, and be prepared to put in the hours.
Have you ever had a situation where, and I've been fortunate so far in my career where I've never had a situation yet where there's been a deliberate hoax, but have you run into that at all?
Not with paranormal, no. Well, I don't know. I think we've run into a situation as a team where we think, shall we say, the client isn't being forthright with us. Yeah. And then you get into you start digging into the investigation, and you start uncovering, just like a detective, more things coming up, and just all of a sudden things just don't add up. So I wouldn't say necessarily a hoax, but maybe things aren't quite the way that they explain them, or maybe they're making some of it up or embellishing the story a lot.
I think I know what you're talking about.
We got about 2.5 minutes, Mike. 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, no, I just want Jay, go into detail about that. Are you talking about the investigation or that we were both at?
Yeah.
Yeah. go into detail about that one, about how, so we got called, I'm not going to say where, somewhere, and we were told that the house is haunted, and they were hearing knocks, groaning, seeing entities, but we attended, and the first time we were there, we didn't get any evidence. Our clients got kind of upset at us because we couldn't produce any evidence to them. So I think we had 1 or 2 EVPs, but it was nothing to like write home about. But then the second time we went there for our follow-up investigation and just to have a chat with them about like the 2 things we found, I started to interview them, investigate them like I would with my work, asking certain trigger questions on what is happening in their house, why it would be happening in their house. And after talking to them for an hour, they didn't tell us some of the people that used to live there dabbled in witchcraft, they sacrificed animals. We didn't know any of that stuff. And Jay, take over the story and what else happened there.
Yeah, the son actually was, I guess he's being protective of his mom, but they had a tenant in the basement that was dabbling in all kinds of black arts and rituals and sacrificing animals and all kinds of stuff. And I guess the son upstairs has started dabbling and didn't have the experience or the knowledge as to what he was doing. And he may have brought something in or opened something up that he could not control. And at this point, I didn't know how to fix it. We did not know that going into the investigation. But when we did get in there, actually it was Derek and Blair that just went to town in there. And they were picking up on all of that stuff. And they were the ones who actually confronted the kid about it. And he came clean then because – we got quite upset. Like, you didn't tell us about this, and you put us in a position where one of us could have been harmed. And that's not cool. That's information that we need before we go in that door.
Well, that is part of the danger that happens with every type of investigation that is out there. And you do have to be careful, and you do have to get that material, that information that you need in order to make sure that it's safe. And I think that goes to show that a lot of people think of this as more of an intrigue and a joke rather than something serious the way you guys take it. But nonetheless, gentlemen, we're going to get you guys to hold on here. And our lady of the night, Morgan Knudsen, Mike Morin, Jason Jordan. We are hanging out on Ghosts of the Great White North. We got 30 minutes left with the crew before we send them on their way. Hour number 3 of Spaced Out Radio coming up next.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social media freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio. The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is watching.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Welcome back to the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Great to have you along for the ride. Tomorrow night on the show, Charla Hardin joins us. We're talking the female perspective of the paranormal, girls versus ghosts. 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. Hi to everyone listening in on KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California, WQEE 99.1 FM in Newnan, Georgia, and UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans. On the digital side, hi to everyone listening in on Revolution Radio and Deep Talk Radio. Good to have you with us. Remember, all of our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Ilum. Ilum is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, which is officially now under construction. We'll have a new look in just a couple of weeks, so please stay with us. For the final time tonight, we introduce Ghosts of the Great White North, as we have Mike Morin from Haunted Crew of Canada, Morgan Knudsen from Paranormal 911 and Haunted Hospitals television shows, and our special guest tonight, Jason Jordan from Haunted Crew of Canada as well. Welcome back, team, to the show. Glad to have you here.
Final half hour. Man, I'm going to miss you guys again for, the rest of the month.
Okay. That's all right. Your Facebook will just pepper us with you throwing flames out of your mouth, but that's another story. Yes. Morgan likes to breathe fire. I do. Kind of cool, actually. It's kind of cool.
I kind of love it.
Lie. Why?
That's a good question.
Talk about that. Why do you like to do that?
Why do I like to do that? You know what? It's such a meditative art for me because I do a lot with fire. I do both fire eating and vapor tricks and levy wand and all sorts of things. And it's not only is it something that's super empowering, but I teach with it as well. I teach people about paradigm shifting and understanding that there's loopholes in science when it comes to things that we think we know about, and fire is one of those things. So I use it in my Entity Seeker workshops quite a bit, but other than that, it's a really meditative thing for me. So it's good.
Okay, well, you go breathe fire, and we'll just hang out here with normal people. And that's what we will do.
Normal people.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh.
Normal people. Exactly. Now, Mike, you wanted to talk about an investigation that you guys were on with Jason. You guys were talking about it during the break.
Yeah, Jay, go into the one you wanted to bring up about the house where there's basically a party.
You mean the one I would have to say we wasted our time with?
Yes.
They were sent to us and brought to us through a friend, and anyway, they were told by our case manager Jeff, and he laid out all the rules. This is what we need. This is what we expect. They knew we needed an empty house. They knew we needed quiet. They knew everything. We arrive on site. Mike, you and I and Blair all got there at the same time. And we walked in the door, and not only was the whole family there, they had the neighbors there. We hadn't even set up our gear yet, and next thing you know, the door's knocking, and there was more neighbors showing up for the show. They thought this was the lady. Obviously, I mean, my first instinct was, just chatting with her. She seemed like a nice lady, but obviously you didn't get it. So it was very tough for me at that point to take any of her claims, about this house being any entities. I couldn't take anything seriously, honestly. We still went through did the best we could to keep everybody quiet, not knowing damn well we're not going to get any evidence out of this, and we didn't, and just afterwards just refused to go back. We're not. I mean, she didn't respect. I was just angry because some of us drove over an hour to get there, and she couldn't respect our time to do it. And I guess that happens. I'm sure it's happened to all of us.
How do you deal with people, though, who are looking at this as a form of home entertainment rather than trying to deal with a haunting? I mean, that's a, like you said, it's a pretty much a waste of time for your group when you are going to a location that you guys are the reality TV stars in person, like they're having their own television show.
And then that's the way it came across, was just like, oh, look at all the cameras, look at this and that, and that's just, I don't know if they thought they were getting some sort of fame from all their friends or what it was, but it was fortunately it was the one and only time that I've ever had to deal with it. But it was pretty angry because we spent a lot of our own time, brought all our gear, wasted all of our time for literally nothing. And other than the fact that we got to hang out as a team, that was pretty much it.
We got to practice our customer service skills. Yes.
Yeah. We had to bite our tongue quite a bit. I honestly, my first reaction was after speaking with the client, I just wanted to walk. I knew this was a waste of time, and I was actually quite angry, and I wanted to just bail.
Actually, why didn't you?
I don't know. Because she was a client or a friend of one of our team members, so out of respect to them, that's why we didn't.
Merle, what was your thoughts on that?
My thoughts were told the team that we're not bailing and that we're just gonna roll with a punch. You know what? Give it the benefit of the doubt. Do our thing. We recorded audio. We recorded video. We brought out some of our gear. We had one of our members bring some of the family down into the furthest part of the house to try and interview them really quietly. So we adapted to what we had. We were there, would you say, Jay, maybe 2 hours at the most?
Yeah.
But unfortunately, all the contamination took over, and if we had evidence, we wouldn't have heard it. Because I was the one laughing, drinking.
I was the one who took the team that took them down and did that interview that you're talking about, and I did get the sense that the kid was being very sincere. I mean, I didn't think he was trying to. He wasn't trying to pull the wool over his eyes. I just think his parents thought it maybe was just a big joke or what it was, but I don't know what their theory was, and I never heard anything afterwards. I just know that we weren't going back.
Morgan, have you had an experience like that, doing a home or residential investigation?
I have, yeah. I had it. Thankfully, it only happened the one time, but very similar experience to what Jason and Mike are describing, where we were called into this home, and they seemed to genuinely want some assistance and want some help. But we got there, and they had a ton of their friends over, and they were drinking, and they were trying to offer us drinks and this, that, and the other thing. And I said, look, like, we're not here to party with you. We were under the assumption that this is something that you needed assistance with and whatnot. And there was like, oh no, like we had to have our friends over because they wanted to watch and we wanted to meet you. And it was like, I was like, you guys are just, my whole team has taken this night to come in and assist you guys. And it was very frustrating. So I ended up basically putting them on the line and saying, look, like, we're either going to stay here and socialize with you guys, or, you know, you're going to kick these people out and we're going to help you, but it's not going to be both. So yeah, it was a frustrating evening. We ended up coming back on a different night when she, you know, clued in and understood what the deal was, but it was not a fun evening.
And considering that neither of your groups are getting paid to do this, you do it out of volunteer and respect for the field and to try and help people. How disappointing is that when, you know, I'm assuming you have ground rules, Mike, going into an investigation that, look, this isn't for entertainment purposes.
Yeah, we do. It's extremely frustrating. We screen our people that we investigate fairly well. We have our case manager, and then our case manager will kick it over to me. I'll chat to them, ask them a bunch of questions. This one, we didn't, using the one we just talked about as an example, we didn't think that was going to happen. But then, like I said, we adapt. And because for every positive experience we give a client, be it if we're not enjoying it, or if we're not there for entertainment purposes, but for every positive experience we give, it's more exposure for us, credential for us, where we could be referred to. So yeah, we'd be cranky on the inside, but we would still do our job for what we showed up for.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do that investigation, knowing that there's someone out there who isn't respecting what I'm doing. That just kind of irritates me. Jason, how do you try and get focused when you have that lack of respect going into someone's residence or someone's place of work?
I didn't. Mike was the one that reeled me back in, actually.
Well, take us through that.
I wanted to walk. You know, when we got there, and it was, I said to the rest of the team, and you know, Blair was on we all kind of agreed that we're here. We just wasted our time. I drove all the way from friggin' Chilliwack to here to do this. You know, burned up my own fuel, burned up my own, you know, spent my own money on batteries, my own time. I could have been doing something much better. But it was Mike that actually reeled me back in and said, no, let's, you know, use this as a learning experience and see what we can do, or if we can salvage anything out of it. But we did lay down a ground rule with the client at the end that, you know, this wasn't cool. We're not coming back. You wasted our time. You didn't listen to the rules that were set out for you. You knew what was expected when we walked in the door, unfortunately. And like you said, if we were getting paid for the gig, it would have been something different, but we weren't. So
did she think it was just an opportunity to have something cool like that type of live entertainment at her house? Is that what she was thinking?
I don't think so. I think, well, column A, column B, yes, kind of. But on the flip side, if you interviewed the tenants of the house and the past stuff that's happened there, it was an active house. Both of our mediums picked up on activity there, but however, it was so contaminated we couldn't do a proper investigation. Would I like a crack at that house empty? I absolutely would, because there was a death on the property. Where this property is a really, really old area where there was a lot of people, foot traffic, old shacks through the 1800s up until basically now, the new developments where, yeah, the history is rich there. It probably does have a story to tell, but until we can have our way at a property like that, it's useless.
Mike, you've mentioned the word contamination a couple of times of the investigative scene. For people who may not be familiar with the paranormal, what do you mean by that?
Contamination, noise contamination, visual contamination. So if Dave and I are in a house and we're doing an EVP session, electronic voice phenomenon session, where we're using an audio recorder, asking spirits questions where we can hopefully pick up an answer on our gear. That would be Morgan walking in saying, do y'all want a drink while we're doing the investigation? That would be contamination. Spirits.
Morgan.
She comes in.
Yeah.
What? You know what I mean? that's what contamination is, ruining what we're doing or making it not possible to do our job properly.
Morgan, is that a real problem for your teams as well when you go out on an investigation, or even with the television show?
In terms of things like, you mean in terms of noise contamination?
Yes.
Or contamination of evidence? Yeah, I mean, it's funny because we've tried to nail that down as sharply as possible. When we go into a place, we work with audio engineers and videographers. So the gear that we're bringing in reduces noise contamination quite a bit. And the people that are setting it up they do this for a living. They've been doing this for decades. So we try to eliminate it with that to start with. And then after that, we've got some pretty strict protocols. If we're doing any sort of video recording or anything like that, it's just, the route. If somebody's got to go into the room, it's, you have to announce yourself going into the room. So there's no mistaking, oh my God, was that a door opening? Was that somebody, oh my God, I heard footsteps. Well, no, because the person's just announced, so-and-so is entering the room. And so things like that we try to rule out. But there's a lot that goes into it. And then when our audio and whatever gets processed later, it's done by the same sound engineers and whatnot that set the video up or set the cameras up. So they're familiar with the gear, they know what they're looking for, and that's always a big plus.
Jason, when you are dealing with the public now, how do you as a team go and screen potential clients? Like, do you mention that to them that, look, this isn't party time for you and your friends, this is something serious we do? How do you go about that?
Well, the rules are just like, our case manager just lays it out. Like, just, this is I wouldn't say rules, but this is what expectation that we need to be able to help you. We need quiet. We need the house preferably alone. We need, that way. And when most people, when you explain to them why we need things the way that we do, they get it. This one time, the one time we were discussing seems to be a bit of an isolated incident. It was the first time I've ever had to deal with it, and hopefully it's the last. Majority of the people do get it.
Do you find residences are more likely to have this happen than places of business?
Not necessarily. It depends on the location period. When it comes to, like Mike's talking about contamination, when you're doing businesses, you got things like, we've run into contamination with freezers humming and air conditioners kicking on and, things like that, which you have to, we tag as we're going along, but sometimes it can certainly drown out, the equipment we use is very sensitive, as you know, and just even an air conditioning humming or anything like that can certainly contaminate things just that easily.
Mike, what's your thoughts on that?
I would agree with Jay on that.
Okay.
Merle.
Did Merle's Skype go crazy again?
I think we lost Merle.
At least he agreed with me at the end, so that's pretty cool.
That's all you care.
That's all that matters.
Yes. For once, the Merle is agreeing.
Merle always agrees. Merle's going to use his cell phone next time on Skype. I have a nice shiny MacBook Pro all done up, and I don't know. I give up, Dave.
Well, you know what? It's something that we got to do. We got to figure it on. We only got about 5 minutes left here with Muted Merle and the rest of Ghosts of the Great White North. When it comes to people and investigations, Morgan, and the way that people conduct themselves, is this where you can tell whether or not they are in it for the entertainment factor rather than trying to deal with a personal paranormal problem? If they are trying to, I don't want to use the term make a mockery of what you're doing, but not taking it as seriously as they potentially should.
Yeah, I mean, it can be very frustrating, but I find usually the questions when they first get a hold of me or one of the people that I contract, I find that the questions that I ask them will typically rule it out pretty quick, because we require them to do work going into the situation, and before we even sit down and meet with them. And usually if they're sort of on that surface level, I want this to be fun, or I want this to be, some sort of a joke, it stops them pretty quick because they don't want to invest that much into it. So I find that's usually irons it out. I haven't had a case like I described earlier, or like Jason and Mike described, for a long time. It's been about 10 years. So I found that the ruling that out through the initial questions has been pretty decent.
It is. And Jason, when you and Haunted Crew are now leaving things up to make investigations happen, do you look at it as you almost have now your defenses up going into a residence saying, okay, is neighbor Bob and Jill coming over for coffee while this is going to happen? I mean, you pretty much have to shut down the entire area.
No, we don't approach it like that at all. I mean, like I say, that one, I like to think of it as, I mean, we've done so many investigations over the years, and this is the first time that we've run into that problem. We've run into the problem where you have, people around that you didn't think were going to be there, but that's not as big of a deal. You can, you talk to them and they're quiet. These people just seem to make a spectacle of what we were doing, and that was the thing that kind of angered it. I mean, like I say, it was. I'm hoping it was just a one-off.
Quick question here, with about 2 minutes to go here before we go, and Merle, I'll get you to answer this. And this question comes from Vivian. She says, do you think it's possible those people were trying to destroy ghost hunting on camera?
I don't fully understand the question, but no, I don't think that they're trying to destroy ghost hunting on camera. I wish there was more to elaborate on the question more.
Well, or were they trying to sabotage it because maybe they didn't believe?
Oh, you're talking about like our case? No, I don't think so. I think that it's all pure entertainment and what they're doing. Maybe, I don't think they're trying to make a mockery. I think that they were trying to be on, because sometimes we'll tell people that we may put some of our clips on YouTube. So I find if you tell people that before we go to the investigation, sometimes they'll get dolled up. And then this time, they brought their entire neighborhood because it's going to be block party ghost hunt on YouTube. And so I don't potentially think that they're trying to destroy ghost hunting on camera. They were trying to make it into like the cool kids ghost hunt.
Gotcha. We only got about 1 minute left. Morgan, let us know where people can find Paranormal 911 and Haunted Hospitals.
Well, they can find that in Canada on T&E Network, and in the U.S., they're looking at the Travel Channel, and both are Sunday nights on T&E and Monday nights on Travel Channel. Every week, brand new episodes.
Excellent. Merle, let everybody know your YouTube channel and where they can find Haunted Crew of Canada.
You can find us Facebook, Haunted Crew of Canada, Instagram, Haunted Crew Canada, website, hauntedcrewcanada.com, and same with Twitter and YouTube. It's all the same, Haunted Crew of Canada. We're easy to find.
Jason, thank you so much. Good luck in the success of your Sasquatch investigations. Look for the interdimensional beings, man. That's what they are.
I'll keep that in mind, and thank you for having me. I'll talk to you soon, bro.
Not a problem. Not a problem. And drive safe up to your investigation on, I guess you guys are leaving tomorrow, so make sure you drive safe. Hey, coming on up on Spaced Out Radio, we have the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Day. So come on back. We're going to have a good time. We'll be back with more Spaced Out Radio right after this.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
So, you love talk radio, then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. So glad you could join us. Remember, if you missed part of this show and you want to listen to it or others, you can go to our archives, which are stored at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. They are free for you, so go check it out. The only thing I ask for in return is to hit that subscribe button. Our new website is now under construction, so if you go to our page, you're just going to see a one-page screen just directing you to the show, and yes, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be great. We're looking forward to it. Let's get to the weird, the wacky, the insane SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, bringing you some amazing stories from around the world. And we're going to start off with a little bit of science. What do you think of this? Is this playing with God a little bit too much, even if you do not believe? Well, apparently, scientists have revived cells in the brains from dead pigs. Now, for me, this is how the zombie apocalypse begins, or tapping into AI, which eventually leads to the T-1000 Terminators. But a recent study has raised some major questions about life and death. And it all revolves around slaughtered pigs. So what they've done is they've taken the brains from the pigs and they tried to get the brains going again. Although there were no signs indicating coordinated electrical signaling necessary for higher functions like awareness and intelligence, or consciousness for that matter, they did get the blood vessels functioning again. Flowing with a blood substitute, and certain brain cells regained metabolic activity, even responding to drugs. When the researchers tested the slices of treated brain tissue, they discovered electrical activity in some neurons. Now, of course, this is very preliminary and has no immediate implications on how it's going to affect brain injuries in humans. But the fact that they were able to bring the brain technically back alive after death is just amazing. Now, Nita A. Farahani, a bioethicist and law professor at Duke University, said, "We had clear lines between this is alive and this is dead. How do we now think about this middle category of partly alive? We didn't think it could exist." Jonathan Moreno, a bioethicist from the University of Pennsylvania, basically said, "This is wild. If ever there was an issue that merited big public deliberation on the ethics of science and medicine, this is the one." How do you feel about that? I don't know. I really don't know how I feel. I mean, in one sense, do any of us really want to die? I don't like the fact of getting older. I mean, granted, I think I'm getting better looking, but I really don't want to get older. I want to be around for my kids, my grandkids, my great-grandkids. I want to see what, eventually I want to see the Vancouver Canucks win the Stanley Cup. Okay, I'll take just making the playoffs. Researchers at Yale University acquired the heads of the 32 pigs killed for their meat. The scientists then sawed into the skulls and removed the brains. By the time the experiment started, the brains had been without blood and at room temperature for hours. The team then developed a system called BrainX that pumps an experimental solution into the intact brain. The scientists hope the technology will help point the way to new treatments for strokes, traumatic brain injuries, and diseases like Alzheimer's. This is a win on that front. And goodness, if it could help people regain their abilities, I'm all for it. But we got to watch out because we don't know the side effects. And let's face it, every time we tamper with something, usually we break it. Interesting. Very interesting story. Tell me your thoughts. Go to the SOR Newswire on Facebook. Put your thoughts at the bottom of the story. I'd like to hear what you think. Or read, I should say. Sticking with science, this is pretty cool. Apparently, scientists have developed and printed a 3D tiny heart from human cells. How cool is that? It has 4 chambers, blood vessels, and beats, sort of. What do you think? I think it's cool. I really do. I mean, we just had Connor Randall on a couple nights ago from the television show Hellier, or the docuseries, and at 14 years old, he received a new heart. I mean, if we could grow hearts through 3D printing, that could help. Oh, I'm all for that. All for that. Now, this is a first. We got to remember this. They made the heart out of human tissue, though the heart is much smaller than humans, only the size about a rabbit's. There's still a long way to go until it functions like a normal heart, but the proof of concept experiment could eventually lead to personalized organs or tissues that could be used in the human body. This is great, especially for people who need those transplants and are looking for organ donors. Imagine if we didn't need to harvest organ donors and all the chemicals and compounds and medication that goes along with keeping someone alive because of that. This could be huge. Could be very huge. Researchers at Tel Aviv University in Israel began by taking a small sample of fatty tissue from a patient. In the lab, they separated this tissue into its component cells and the structure on which the cells sit, called extracellular matrix. Using genetic engineering, the scientists then tweaked the various components, reprogrammed some of the cells to become cardiac muscle cells and cardiomyocytes. That should have been a password. And some to become cells that generate blood vessels. The researchers then loaded these cells, serving as bioinks, into the printer, which had been programmed to print a heart based on CT scans taken from the patient and an artist's depiction of a heart. The printer took between 3 and 4 hours to print the small heart with basic blood vessels. The researchers then incubated the heart and fed it oxygen and nutrients. Within a couple of days, the cells began to spontaneously beat. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. This is cool. Study co-author Asaf Shapira, the lab manager in the Laboratory for Tissue Engineering and Regenerative Medicine at Tel Aviv University, said, "We need the cells to beat synchronically, not just individually." But hearing the beating was quite the accomplishment. Eventually, a personalized 3D printed heart might ease the shortage of transplant organs available to patients and could also circumvent some of the risks associated with transplanting another person's organ, namely, the body's immune system can reject these foreign tissues. This is phenomenal. I hope they can accomplish it. That would be cool. Save a lot of lives, too. A lot of lives if you're putting in your own organs made from your own tissues. Awesome. Quebec residents apparently are trying to figure out how a mysterious pink pony has been wandering loose on a Montreal island. Gilles Bouchard, oh, love that French name, Gilles Bouchard, says he spotted the white pony or mini horse with pink-colored mane on Sunday on Ile Sainte-Hélène, and a Facebook page he created for the equine. Sauvant les mini cheval, listen to that, old Dave's French is coming in here, has since received reports and multiple photos and sightings of this horse. Bouchard says he and other witnesses don't know how the pony got there, where it came from, or why it remains on the loose. Société du Parc Jean Drapeau, which oversees all functions of the island, says groundkeepers have been instructed to keep an eye out for the animal. A representative says officials are not aware of any sanctioned activities that would involve a small horse. No horsing around there. This man, just a bad man. Bad man. Definitely believes in aliens. In Lamar Township, Pennsylvania, a gentleman was charged, literally charged, for shooting lasers or shooting his gun at fireflies. Why? Well, he thought because maybe he was high on something, maybe a little bit too much of Grandma's applesauce hidden up in the top cupboard. He thought the fireflies, when they glowed at him, were actually aliens shooting laser beams. Yes, laser beams. This guy's not even from Florida. How high do you have to be in order to think that fireflies are shooting laser beams at you? Well, pardon me, they're not fireflies. They're aliens. Mini aliens shooting laser beams at you. That must be a good trip. That must be a very, very good trip. Or a freaky one at that. You just can't make this up. This is amazing. All right, we're going to head off to Florida. Don't mess with this, Grandma. No. I took that bat and hit him upside the head like, pia! He said, ow! A 300-pound Florida man in Gainesville who attempted to break into a woman's car, was no match for the 65-year-old senior citizen when she clobbered him with a baseball bat. Clarice Gainey heard a noise outside of her apartment on Sunday morning. Outside her window, she saw a half-naked man attempting to break into her car, pulling on the handle and knocking on the window. Instead of calling the police, old Granny said, I'm taking care of this myself. She grabbed the Louisville Slugger, braced herself, eased open the door, snuck up to the man, and absolutely cracked him. Some would say she hit a home run. Police were called, and Gainey says the 5'6", 300-pound Antonio Mosley charged at her. And that's where she went bang. She went Babe Ruth. She actually pointed at the fence. I don't know if she did or not, but it just makes for a better story. But she says, once again, I took that bat and hit him upside the head like, Pia! He yelled, ow! Mosley fled to a nearby trailer park, leaving his pants and shirts and socks behind. He was tracked down by a canine unit and found inside one of the mobile homes. When deputies found him, he had pants on, which had cocaine in the pocket. No kidding. He was apprehended by authorities and identified not only by his appearance, but because of the injury she dealt to him. He is now sitting in Alachua County Jail on burglary and drug possession charges. Grandma Gainey said, he better be glad I didn't have a gun because I would have shot him. But this is my gun right here, holding the baseball bat, because I gone peow. Thought of the day time. Grandma Gainey, local hero. Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we take a question from our Twitter and Facebook pages, read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Dave is as follows. Why do you ghost hunt? Goddess Michelle on Twitter. It all depends on the reason I am asked to go. If it's a home in distress, then it's to determine what the entity is and how it's best to remove it. If it's just to verify this place is haunted, then it's just to see who is still there. I don't do this as a hobby. When I am asked for help, I come. I am not part of a group, but know people who know me, or people who know me all my life know I have certain qualities that makes me capable. I don't go looking to do this, but it's an ability that I have to use for those who don't have the knowledge or the ability. Very nice. That's why you're one of the best, Goddess Michelle. All right. Kevin, Dave, store-bought ghosts just don't have that fresh from the attic flavor. Also, hunting provides a connection with the food, that primal instinct for a man to protect and feed his family. Okay. Let's see here. Moving on. Little Richie G at Goof on Radio. Let me tell you something, brother. If there's a family of a loved one trying to reach out to me from the other side, I would like to find out, record it, document it, draw it, take a pic of it, and then sell it to every news organization that wants it. Mo money, mo money, mo money. That's right, Goof on. That is right. Let's see here. Let's go over to Facebook. Gabe, I don't hunt ghosts. They hunt me. If they need me. Ooh, that's kind of weird and freaky. Bobby, I want to know. Well, what do you want to know, Bobby? Might want to be a little bit more specific. Richard, to learn about the human condition to find out what lies beyond our physical reality. Cole, to prevent overpopulation. Wow. Think we're almost there. Barry Taff, who we actually booked as a guest for June 6th tonight. The phrase ghost hunt is not really an accurate phrase for such activity. After half a century of parapsychological research, I prefer to call it such as that. One investigates and studies such occurrences as opposed to working in a lab exploring psi phenomena such as telepathy, clairvoyance, and precognition. Oh, he's a smart one. Glad we got him coming on the air. Brian, when some individuals leave their body, they do not go to the light. There is a fear of not only the unknown, but making sense of what just happened. When they fail to go to the light, they exist in the black of the ether, destined to roam the plane for eternity or until that light emanates again. With this in mind, some individuals have a gift of being able to interact with these planes and the afterlife. As such, they appear as beacons of light in the dark ether, thus calling to any spirit that catches its light. And that is called a haunting or a hunt. Very, very nice. Eloquent. Brian, you outdid yourself with that one. Andy, for the delicious ghost jerky. That's why I hunt. Penman, my question is, why would anyone in their right mind hunt ghosts? My answer, C. Andrews. For delicious ghost jerky. Harlan, I don't hunt them. They haunt me. And Carol gets the final word. I do it because they started it. Remember, you can find all of our news temporarily at the SOR Newswire on our Facebook page, brought to you by Captain Shirk, who is taking care of all that. She takes care of all of your newsy needs. And, of course, everything brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. We want to say a big thank you to Mike Morin from Haunted Crew of Canada, Morgan Knudsen from television series Haunted Hospitals and Paranormal 911 for Ghosts of the Great White North, which happens the third Wednesday of every month, and our special guest, Jason Jordan, for coming on in and talking Bigfoot and ghosts tonight. Really appreciated that. What a fun show that was. Tomorrow night on the show, Charla Harden is going to be here. Girls versus Ghosts. That's her team. Let's take a look at the feminine side of paranormal investigation. 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, in our chat rooms on Facebook, the SOR Space Travelers, Spreaker, Rev Radio, and Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thanks a lot for being with us tonight. It's Hump Day. Let's head into the weekend very, very soon, because together, my friends, we own the night. I will talk to you in 21 hours from now. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Have a good one, everybody. Good night.